So the obvious place to start, I guess, would be the Arcserve StorageCraft merger. Happened a little while ago, and it'd be good to just have a sort of general update as to how that, what the idea behind it was, but I suppose more importantly, how it's gone since then, because I know sometimes these things can go seamlessly well, and other times there can be teething problems. But just some idea of where you're at.
Yeah, of course. I think whenever you merge two companies together, it takes a little while for everything to come together. But first and foremost, for us, we wanted to make sure we did it with as little disruption as possible for our customers and our channel partners as we possibly could. And we're at the point now where internally we've managed to merge together all of our teams, from support to the product management teams, the sales teams. Everybody's been sort of merged together internally now, and our goals for the future have all been brought together as well. And you'll start to see more externally now, us bringing together. I don't know if Flo wants to expand on that a little bit, but you'll start to see more from us as just Arcserve now. The name StorageCraft doesn't exist as far as we're concerned, and we'll be renaming products, etc. as well, so that everything becomes just Arcserve as we go forward.
Yeah, correct. And then obviously, as a result of the merger, the good news is, now Arcserve is in the top 5 of the global, backup and recovery vendors. So there is definitely a lot of values to our partners, whether being an MSP or a VAR or even our distributors, to really partner with what we call the new Arcserve. So that's definitely already had a very positive impact on the partners' business.
Okay, and in terms of one of the immediate results, I believe, is you've got something of an expanded solutions portfolio. I'm guessing that's not just literally adding 2 sets of products together and saying, hey, we've got a bigger portfolio. You have actually worked on some sort of joint solutions or leverage some of the StorageCraft technology to use that alongside yours to create some new solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really important actually that the two companies coming together. There's actually different solution sets. There's also different partners as well. Let's not forget in all of this as well. Arcserve got a different sort of partner base to what necessarily StorageCraft had as well. And what we've been able to do is some of the products that were very much a StorageCraft product previously, we've brought into the partner base and been able to sell it through partners and to our end users as well, from the StorageCraft into Arcserve sales, and leverage things like immutable storage, which has been a big thing for us. Obviously, ransomware attacks is one of the key things on everybody's agenda at the moment, and being able to leverage immutable storage in with the UDP technology as well and bring it all together has been absolutely massive for our partners and for our end users over the last few months as well. And we've seen a lot of success, a lot of growth in that area of our business as well by bringing all of that together under one roof. You've also seen us bring together a lot of the technology in terms of being able to offer not just data protection. We've got DRaaS in the cloud now, backup as a service in the cloud, of course, as well. And we've been able to give our partners and our customers more choice in terms of what they need to do. So we've got software enabled solutions, we've got appliances, and we've brought all that together to give more choice and solutions for our partners.
And one of the things to take into account as well is we have, 2 clear set of partners, and some of them might be hybrid. You have like the managed service provider community, which is key to, to serve the kind of local SMB market, and obviously the VAR, which is more there to serve like the mid to enterprise customers. And the good thing is, by bringing these 2 organizations together is, the ability for these partners, whether it's more of an MSP or a VAR or a hybrid, you've got some of the larger partners have an MSP practice, they have a VAR practice, they might have even a services practice. And then for them, the ability to pick and choose what is there from Arcserve, whether legacy StorageCraft product or legacy Arcserve product, and really using this technology to attack specific markets. And also as a result, if you look at the Europe, or more specifically the UK, the coverage and the support that partners get from the team. I think we quadrupled number of people roughly just by bringing these 2 organizations together. So obviously from a sales support, pre-sales support, technical support, very important, especially for the MSP community. These guys are OEMing our technology, if you like. So the ability to bring a wider, more established, support center is critical to these partners. So definitely a lot of benefits, not only from a product point of view, but think about it from a overall support point of view. Arcserve is a much bigger organization and can provide better support to our partners, whether it's in terms of sales, pre-sales, marketing, technical support, and so on and so forth. So definitely a lot of positivity around positivity as a result of the merger that happened nearly a year ago.
Okay, and I know you've got a sort of commitment to bring simplification. I think it's simplification and agility to the channel. And I think, Florian, there you've obviously alluded to some of the benefits of the sort of new joint organization. But how would you describe what are the strategy? I guess other than by all means go over what you said, but the complete strategy for bringing those sort of things to the channel.
Yeah, and one of the things, we asked, as Richard said earlier on, when you merge two fairly large organizations together, there's a bit of synergy, and some things may take a bit of time. The first and foremost, is one of what we wanted to avoid is channel friction, channel conflict. It's like any relationships, when there's a conflict, there's a divorce, and that's something we clearly wanted to avoid. Therefore, from, let's say, a channel program point of view, from a unified, maybe product range point of view, and so on and so forth, we are really, taking it step by step to avoid creating any potential conflicts with our partners. Because where there is conflicts, as I say, there is, unsatisfaction, and then people start looking at other vendors. And when you look at it, legacy StorageCraft and legacy Arcserve, one of above and beyond, products, capabilities, and features, one of the things that comes back when we speak to partners, either existing or prospective, is how strong we are from a human point of view. The relationship, the deep entrenchment that we have, the deep relationship we have with our partners is very, very important. And we are recognized, that's a recognized, I would say, fact or unique selling point on the market today, the human element. So in terms of then, when you think about it, bringing these two companies together, unified programs, unified product lines, so on and so forth. Yes, but it's still work in progress. So as we speak now, and then Richard, I'll let you kind of allude a bit on that, is definitely, we are working on the combined partner program, but we're not going to just take, the legacy Arcserve and StorageCraft and smack it together and say, here you go. No, we are smarter than that, right? So as I said, we take our time to make sure, it works for our MSPs, because they have different requirements from a partner program than VARs. And then the VARs, or the hybrid type of model, they have other sort of requirements as well. So we're taking our time to make sure that when we're going to have that unified partner program, that it's going to work for everybody to avoid any conflicts.
And the people side of that is really, really important. For me, I wanted to make sure that the channel that we have now from the StorageCraft and Arcserve side was served as it was previously, so we didn't get any friction. But I wanted to add to that as well, because bringing the two organizations together allowed us to have more people supporting these partners now. So we've got more people in the field, we've got more technical pre-sales resource, we've got more people supporting these channel partners, whether they're selling in the mid-market or SMB or their MSPs. It doesn't matter. We wanted to make sure that they've got more resource than what they had before, and that's a really important message for our partners, that we've now got more resource than ever to call upon to help them.
And in terms of your sort of overall channel strategy, clearly bringing the two sets of partners together is a key part of that. Do you anticipate that once you've done that exercise, you'll have a pretty good partner ecosystem, or are you looking to sort of expand beyond the merging of those two channel organizations, if that makes sense?
I think we're always looking to expand and looking for new partners, and I think actually the bringing together of the two organizations will help us with that, because we're serving a market, I mentioned before, the MSP market, the SMB, and the mid-market, which is actually pretty underserved by the market at the moment. And if we look at what's out there at the moment in our competition and look at our channel, and there's not many vendors out there in the world that can give them the full range of capabilities, no matter which area of the market you're selling to. That's what we can do. So I think by its very nature, that will help us expand some of our partners, but also I think that having that full breadth of technology and full breadth of market be able to help us bring on more channel partners as well. Now we have that and can compete with almost anybody out there.
Correct. And one of the things which, and this is very important as well, is, when we mention agility, how to better serve the channel, is our pricing models. We have most of the flavor, I would say we have all the flavors. Someone is looking at a perpetual license plus support. You have someone is looking more at a prepaid annual or 3 years kind of prepaid model. We offer, at the MSP SMB level is more like consumption. So we have the monthly subscriptions for our software product, our appliance-based product. So, we have all the, I'm sure there's probably a flavor somewhere within thing, but we have all the key flavors that allows our partners to meet as well the budget requirements and the budget models of their own customers. And, very often we think, monthly subscription is mainly for the SMBs, they need to consume, IT as they grow or as they decrease and so on and so forth. However, we've seen in the mid-enterprise market, especially, the pandemic has put some pressure on budget. So we have seen some of, some larger organization moving away from a, monthly subscription, from a traditional, appliance-based, plus perpetual license model to more of a subscription model. Whether that's going to carry or not, we don't really know. But at that moment of time, we've seen, these customers who would traditionally buy the appliance, amortize it over 5 years and renew, going for a subscription model. So again, that's important, I think, to add on, in addition to the product and all the support we've spoken about, is even from a pricing point of view, we can match most of the business model requirements that our partners and our end user customers might have to consume and use our technology.
Okay, and I know you're talking a lot at the moment, pushing unified data resiliency. I guess that's the sort of technology equivalent, if that's right, of, you say the channel, you're able to offer almost any consumption model, whether it's, as you say, purchasing the actual hardware or subscription. And this unified data resiliency, that's the idea that whatever your data storage problem is, you have a solution for that. Is that right, or what is behind the program?
Yeah, behind that resiliency message, obviously, what we see obviously ransomware. We Rich mentioned it a bit earlier on, is not going away, and it's still, a big issue for IT professional, whether being a partner or an end user. Obviously, we are generating, more and more data is being generated. That means you are increasing the overall surface attacks for hackers. You have compliance requirements more and more. I'm not going to enumerate them, but we know this, either industry compliance requirements or even internal requirements. And, if you go to the bread and butter of what we do, which is all about, disaster recovery, a server outage, power outage, bad weather and so on and so forth. So it's all about making, the data as resilient as possible, so then we can deliver business continuity to our customers. Therefore, they can serve their own customers or meet their own SLAs, whatever it might be. And, if you look at the three, key pillars from an Arcserve point of view that kind of serve that unified data resilience platform or messaging, it's about, protecting. So we protect our customers' data, and we are as well offering cybersecurity. So we partner with Sophos, and we have one of their Sophos antivirus agent that we offer to our customers, Sophos Interceptex. Point number one. So we do the prevention, if you like. We protect. So regardless of where the workloads are, on premise, in the cloud, in both, or, there's more and more customers, small, medium, and large, deploying SaaS-based application like 365 and Google Workspace for mobility requirements. We all know it's very practical. That data needs to be protected on premise, whether it's virtual environment, physical environments, we protect. And the last piece of the puzzle, if I may say, which is probably the most important, recover. The ability to recover as quickly as possible, the customer's data set, so they can again carry on with their overall, day-to-day activity. So that's, a summary of these kind of, data resilience or unified data resilience platform, meeting these three pillars, but as well, bringing these two organizations, legacy StorageCraft, legacy Arcserve, together, so then we can help our customers, making sure that when bad thing happens, we have the backside, so to say.
And I ask this. I expect you folks have a good pedigree in storage. I got involved in it quite a number of years ago, and I mean, backup and recovery was kind of the most important thing way back then. Does it perhaps surprise you? I don't want you to badmouth your customer, but are you still surprised that so many organizations still haven't quite got to grips with backup and data recovery challenges? Or is it, as you mentioned, ransomware, I guess 10 years ago, whatever it wasn't such an issue? So is there always new problems that need solving by backup and recovery, or is it the same problems that just manifest themselves in different ways?
I think there's always new problems. What amazes me, speaking to customers and partners, is the amount of organizations that aren't ready, despite all the news. Everywhere you see there's a ransomware attack every single around the corner. The amount of organizations that are not ready to deal with a ransomware attack is phenomenal. And it's not like this is a new thing. This has been happening for a while now, and I think it's everywhere. But when we've talked to partners and customers, that the amount of customers that are not ready, and what would they do if they had a ransomware attack? Or actually, a lot of organizations, in fact, one of our recent surveys we did said that over half, they wouldn't be able to even identify that they had a ransomware attack. So things have changed a little bit in the storage and backup industry. And we're now seeping into, as Florian mentioned, we've got Sophos at the front end, and we've got our immutable storage at the back end. We're now in the security business as well, right? The backup and recovery has merged itself almost in the security business, because if you can't recover from a ransomware attack and you can't see a ransomware attack coming, then guess what? It's the backup and recovery area that you're going to have to absolutely rely on. And more organizations are starting to pull in their CISO and their compliance officers into backup and recovery discussions, rather than just talking about antivirus and everything else that they used to talk about. It's changed a lot in that way, and what I've seen from customers as well.
I agree, and then that's what makes actually interesting is definitely the backup, recovery, immutable storage is a cornerstone of any IT security strategy. And if that's not the case, CISOs, IT security directors, or even the CIOs, we have a problem. Yeah, prevention is better than cure. However, unfortunately, we know that bad things will happen, and we are the last line of defense. Backup and recovery and immutable storage is the last line of defense. And you mentioned backup recovery has been going on for quite some time now, obviously, and obviously Arcserve was one of the first, if not the first, back in 1983. But one of the things that's interesting to see is the renaissance of tape backup in 2022, because customers, the one who are really paranoid about IT security, making sure they can recover regardless of what might happen, they will always want, and we see more and more requests for tape backup. So tape backup is coming back. Why? Because in case of a ransomware attack, usually the tapes are in a remote location, in a vault, disconnected from the internet. So in the most disastrous Armageddon event, whether it's a ransomware, a building blowing up, and it can happen, what's going to save again your data? Tape. So that's interesting to see, for the last 6 months or so, we have seen customers requiring adding tape backup they get to, I would say, immutable storage or any kind of backup and recovery solutions as an insurance of the insurance, if you like. And that's really interesting. And when you speak about insurance as well, it's interesting to see that a lot of its cybersecurity insurance providers are slowing down a bit, because all of these ransomware attacks do cost a lot of money. And funny enough, insurers are losing money. So they're like, oh, hang on a minute. We'll have to maybe slow down on bringing on new customers. And in that scenario, what is the answer to that? Well, what Arcserve offers, the backup, the recovery, the immutability. We can export data to the cloud and on tape. And I guess that makes us probably the unique vendor offering all the flavors. And as Richard said, we offer cybersecurity with with the Sophos agent. So it's actually interesting to see that sometimes some of these older ways of doing things, even in the ever digitalized environment, are coming back.
Yeah, fun enough talking there. It reminded me of the information lifecycle management was a big thing many years ago, and the way you're talking suggests that ILM 2.0 or wherever it is, the importance of data. I mean, we're all familiar. Everyone's told that data is the new oil, and you can make money this way and that way. Do you think that's the case then? Obviously, you've got the ransomware. I get that, but in general, people think or are understanding just how valuable their data is now. Therefore, just how critical it is to, as you say, back it up and back up the backups to make sure that there aren't any gaps.
And that's exactly what's happening. It's this information lifecycle management. People are now putting an insurance on top of an insurance. They're saying to us, it's no good just being backed up on a server. It's no good just being backed up. I'm putting it off site. That's fine, no problem. Now I want it in the cloud. Now I want an immutable copy, and I want a tape copy as well, just to make sure I have that extra level. So this is kind of where customers are going now, and they've realised that the value of their data. Sometimes backup could have been the poor cousin to security, if you like, sometimes, and it wasn't thought about quite as much as what it probably should have been. But now in this world that we're in now, where they will get at your data because people are getting at the data, and they're getting at the backup of that data as well, and people know that they're going to attack the backup of the data, because guess what? If the backup gets affected, then nobody can recover, the business stops working, and people have realized that now. I think there's been so many high profile cases now that people have realized that they need that extra layer. If they don't have another layer of security or another layer of backup, then they're in trouble, and their business ceases to work, and they can't pull anything back whatsoever, even from the history. And that converts into millions and millions of pounds in some cases for some organizations if they can't pull the data back. Data is key.
Yeah, and then you mentioned data is the new oil and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's been obviously a bit of a motto for quite some time, but it's true. I mean, whether it's good or bad, not for Rich and I to say. However, many decisions are now made up on artificial intelligence, which is all data driven. So obviously, if you are losing the data, you are probably weakening your ability to take decisions. Point number one. And point number two as well, in terms of how important data can be. Well, of course it is. I mean, think about, health monitoring, life support devices. Think about your, air conditioning systems or fire alarm system in a building. Simple data, is it hot or is it cold? Well, it's hot. Well, it's actually strangely super hot. So maybe there's a fire. So if that gets lost, stolen, or hacked, the consequences could be quite dramatic, right? So I think more and more as we move forward, companies, again, organization, regardless of the size, they are really understanding the value of the data, and therefore putting the right security measures in place to protect the data. And that includes more and more backup and recovery. And think about as well, all the initiative around GDPR, you have to have, depending on the size of organization, a data protection officer. That role probably existed before. Someone was doing it without really knowing what he or she was doing. But again, having these compliance requirements, bring data into the center of the conversation. At the end of the day, it's now all about the data, and businesses, obviously the larger one, they understood that a long time ago, but mid-enterprise organization, smaller organization, realizes that's happening. And as Richard said, the fact that some of these have been compromised, they went through the pain of not having access to their data, and now they understand the value above and beyond whether they can make business decision or about, the business survival. So yes, definitely. And then whether data is the new oil, it is, but it's definitely a reality. It's becoming a real reality, if I may say.
Yeah, I mean, we covered a fair amount of ground. Maybe just as we sort of finish, it would be good to, and I know you've covered a lot of it as we've talked, but just a sort of refresher, what, for the channel, what do you think, Arcserve offers? What are the sort of unique parts of your offering that maybe some of your competitors aren't? So, if your partners are looking for a backup and recovery, either to move or, to start offering that kind of service, what is it that you do that, as I say, others don't?
I think there's a couple of things that I want to mention. Is I think we have talked about some of it already. We have become a one-stop vendor, no matter whether you're a LAR, MSP, VAR, whatever sort of organization you are as a channel partner. We've become a one-stop organization to be able to allow you to do almost anything. And what's quite important there as well also is that our distribution partners as well have now got access to all of the different parts, whether it's an MSP, whether it's an appliance, whether it's software, whatever it is, they've got access to that. So we've made it really, really easy for our partners to access complete solutions right from end to end, security at the front end, all the way to the immutable storage at the back end. And no matter what type of business you are, whether you're a service provider or a traditional reseller, we can serve all of those communities. And with the team that we've got behind it now as well, much bigger team than ever before, we can support them and help them much more than we could previously as well. That's what I'd say we can help everybody with. I don't know if you want to add to that, Flo.
I think you summarized it very well, and again, something that is always a bit secondary, but it's the importance of the flexibility of our pricing models. Monthly subscription, a la carte consumption type licensing, prepaid 1 year, 2, 3, 5 years, or the traditional perpetual license for software, or purchasing the appliance with your support and renewals. That's very important, and it can help partners not only matching the customer requirements from a feature requirement, from a feature point of view, but as well from a pricing model. And there's more and more pressure coming from the end user customers, whether being a small organization or mid or large. They will want to see something that fits their budget needs or their budget model at the time they purchase, not in 1 year, nor in 2 years. And that's something Arcserve offers right here, right now, that makes us different to most of our competitors.
Okay, I mean, it's been really enjoyable to chat to you today. So thank you very much for your time, Richard and Florian. Thank you very much indeed.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much.